In recent days, a massive piece of news has dropped that indirectly but very closely affects the gaming world. Netflix signing a huge deal to acquire Warner Brothers. On the film and TV side, this alone is a historic event. But that's not the part that really concerns me. Because this acquisition won't just impact movies or TV shows, it directly affects the future of Warner Brothers' major game franchises as well. And that leads us to the most obvious question. Where does Hogwarts Legacy 2 fit into all of this? But before we get into the details, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Right now, we're having a tough time with YouTube's algorithm. Videos aren't being recommended like they used to. So if you can support the channel by liking and leaving a comment, it genuinely helps a lot. All right, let's get started. Warner Brothers may have had a rocky run in gaming over the past few years, but with Hogwarts Legacy, they achieved an incredible success. Released in 2023, the game became the best-selling title of the year, outperforming even giants like Call of Duty that usually dominate the charts annually. This wasn't just a commercial win, it proved that single-player, story-driven games are still incredibly powerful. After a success like that, it was inevitable that Hogwarts Legacy 2 would enter development, and within the industry, this is no longer treated as a secret. However, everything changes the moment the Netflix factor enters the picture. Until now, Netflix has taken very cautious, sometimes even hesitant steps in the gaming space. We've mostly seen mobile games, in-app experiences, and small projects designed to support the Netflix ecosystem. Large-scale, console and PC-focused dozens of hours, single-player AAA games are not Netflix's comfort zone. So the question becomes unavoidable. After acquiring Warner Brothers, will Netflix truly view a massive project like Hogwarts Legacy 2 as a long-term investment? And this is exactly where things start to feel concerning. According to emerging information, Netflix did not place the gaming division at the center of the acquisition when negotiating the Warner Brothers deal. Some shareholder discussions even suggest that games were viewed as a secondary revenue stream. If that's true, it tells us something very clearly. Netflix doesn't yet have a clear roadmap for Warner Brothers games. That uncertainty directly impacts the future of Hogwarts Legacy 2. Let's be clear, there is currently no official information suggesting that the game has been canceled, and such a decision wouldn't make much sense in the short term. However, after major acquisitions, it's very common to see projects slow down, release dates pushed back, or creative visions reshaped. So the real issue isn't whether Hogwarts Legacy 2 will exist, but what kind of game it will become under this new Netflix era. If the Netflix Warner Brothers acquisition proceeds as expected, the first thing Hogwarts Legacy 2 will likely face is silence. After massive mergers like this, companies often stop external communication, reevaluate projects internally, and establish new priority lists. So, not seeing trailers, not hearing official updates, or watching the game disappear for a while wouldn't be surprising. That doesn't mean cancellation, it usually means the project has entered a wait-and-see phase. One crucial detail must not be overlooked. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is not an ordinary game. It's part of the Harry Potter universe, one of the most globally recognized and enduring brands in the world. It's one of Warner Brothers' strongest cards in gaming. Throwing a project like that away simply because of a corporate acquisition would be a massive mistake, both commercially and in terms of brand value. That's why a full cancellation remains the least likely scenario. But the real shift could happen in the type of experience the game offers. Netflix's business model is built around long-term user engagement rather than one-time purchases. That naturally raises questions. Will Hogwarts Legacy 2 move toward a more service-based structure? Will it become a constantly updated experience? Or will it remain a fully story-driven, clearly structured single-player game like the first one? This is where the real risk lies. Because what made Hogwarts Legacy special was the absence of a forced live service model. It was a game you could progress through at your own pace, breathe in the atmosphere, and truly get lost in Hogwarts. If Netflix starts viewing this project primarily as a product meant to support an engagement ecosystem, that spirit could be damaged. Micro-content, seasonal structures, or unnecessary padding could fundamentally alter the game's identity. On the other hand, there's also a more optimistic scenario. Since Netflix is still relatively inexperienced in large-scale gaming, it might choose not to interfere directly and instead give existing teams the freedom to continue. In that case, Avalanche Software and Warner Brothers Games could preserve the formula that worked so well the first time. Netflix would mainly provide funding and marketing power. Under this scenario, Hogwarts Legacy 2 might be delayed, but it would retain its core identity. One of the most realistic outcomes is a significant delay in the game's release window. After large acquisitions, internal approval processes slow down, budgets are reassessed, and projects are represented to new leadership. That usually leads not to cancellation, but to postponement. So while Hogwarts Legacy 2 is unlikely to be shelved entirely, previously planned timelines could be scrapped, pushing the game well beyond an initial 2026 target. Netflix's overall view of gaming plays a critical role here. So far, all signs suggest that Netflix doesn't see games as a primary revenue pillar. That mindset probably won't cancel Hogwarts Legacy 2 outright, but it could lead to limitations in budget, team size, or marketing support. The game might still release, but in a more constrained form compared to the freedom and scope of the first title. There's another possibility that shouldn't be ignored. Warner Brothers games could be restructured entirely. In major acquisitions, companies sometimes choose to refocus on their core business, spinning off or selling divisions that don't align with their DNA. If Netflix decides that large-scale game development doesn't fit its long-term strategy, Warner Brothers games could become independent or even change ownership. In that scenario, Hogwarts Legacy 2's development could be disrupted, but the project itself wouldn't necessarily die. The darkest scenario is a loss of identity. Netflix's data-driven, user-retention-focused mindset could indirectly pressure Hogwarts Legacy 2's design. Concepts like longer playtime, content loops, and engagement metrics might interfere with the game's natural flow. The magic of Hogwarts Legacy came from not forcing systems onto the player. If that balance is broken, we could end up with a technically bigger game that feels spiritually weaker. Still, it's important to remember this. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is one of Warner Brothers' most powerful brands, and the Harry Potter universe still holds enormous appeal. Netflix understands the value of that. So the most likely outcome isn't cancellation, but a more cautious, more controlled, and probably delayed development path. There's risk, there's uncertainty, but hope is far from gone. From Netflix's perspective, games are a double-edged sword. On one hand, gaming is a massive market, and having a Harry Potter game is an incredible opportunity. On the other hand, AAA game development is far more expensive, risky, and time-consuming than producing films or series. That's why Netflix's approach to Hogwarts Legacy 2 will likely focus on risk minimization rather than full creative control, resulting in a more conservative development strategy. In that sense, Hogwarts Legacy 2 could also serve as a test case for Netflix. If the game is completed successfully and launches strong, Netflix may become bolder in gaming. If development drags on, costs rise, or expectations aren't met, it could reinforce the idea that Netflix shouldn't have gone this route. So this game isn't just important for players, it's a turning point for Netflix itself. From a player's perspective, Hogwarts Legacy 2 represents a broader test of the modern gaming industry. Will we get a strong, atmospheric, single-player, story-driven experience, or a stretched, over-engineered product designed to keep us engaged longer than necessary? The Netflix-Warner Brothers merger may be one of the first major examples to answer that question. That's why the fate of Hogwarts Legacy 2 is directly tied to how Warner Brothers' identity evolves under Netflix. If Netflix treats Warner Brothers purely as a content factory, games will always sit in the background. But if it truly understands the value of these brands, projects like Hogwarts Legacy 2 can be protected and even strengthened. Right now, we're stuck between those two extremes. In conclusion, Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers is a move that could have quiet but very deep consequences for the gaming world. Hogwarts Legacy 2 sits at the most sensitive point of this shift. The game will likely release, but when and with what vision remains a huge question mark. Every step taken in the coming months will shape its fate, and as players, we may be witnessing up close how a corporate acquisition can redefine the future of games. So what do you think? Is Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers an opportunity for Hogwarts Legacy 2 or a major risk? Do you expect the game to preserve its soul, or do you think it will move in a completely different direction under Netflix's influence? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. And if you enjoy this kind of gaming content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.